Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 21 of seeing if I can assemble and build these two show Club Sport CB750s before a show in Pittsburgh called Glory Days Motorcycle Show. Well, the K has an engine and the front end pretty much installed. We're waiting on the last piece of the puzzle to get the rear wheel on, which is the sprocket side drive cushion area thing that sandwiches into the rubbers. And on the F, we are now able to fully finalize the wire loom, or at least like get it there. And the reason for that, why we now are able to, is because we received a huge parts haul yesterday and today. Things like the breakout box to make the speedometers work and the dash lights work on the Motoscope Pro for both bikes. Now that means I can finalize all of the BS on the F, really think through the exact routing of how I want everything loomed to live and to be secured. We also got more ground and 12-volt red and black wires because I needed more for the loom coming back from the front of the bike. And then we also got bolts for the headers for the exhaust. We got a bunch of Moto Gadget parts for the K. We got a rear rotor for the K wheel. We got parts from 4-into-1 for my bike. We got straps. I'm going to use these Velcro strap thingies. They're nice and clean for the wires on both of the bikes. And then I got a few other things like straps for the trailer when I trail these bikes to Glory Days in a few weeks here. And then also we received the proper mounts for our front fender kit that is proper for the ZX6R front end. So I'm going to go ahead, mount these up, make sure they fit. Start with that, start with something easy. And yeah, we're going to just make some headway on the F today. I'm going to focus solely on the F. Well, not solely, but I'm going to really focus on the F and then start to get my bearings straight with the K. So, without further ado, let's get the wiring freaking dialed in on the F and ready to rumble. Woo! Welcome to day 21, fellas. Thanks for watching so far. If you're tuning in right now, check out the playlist right here. You can watch every single day of me going through the process, and it's geared to be as real and authentic as I physically possibly can. There's no view chasing. There's no like thumbnail clickbait chasing. It's just straight up like me filming every single day going through the process of building this show bike and that show bike, which are both going to take you guys, the internet, and people by storm because the vision on these bikes are out of control. Super excited. And this is the pivotal point where milezero.racers becomes a parts manufacturer, a brand, and a custom builder, not just a YouTuber online presence. And I'm super excited because these bikes are the catalyst to featuring, debuting, and releasing a whole product line of products so you guys can replicate your very own Club Sport, or just you want pieces and bits that you like that we do here, and you can, by all means go for it. So, guys, with that being said, we're going to have a beautiful day. We got some sun, and we're going to do our best to absolutely crush the day just like every other day. I hope you're following along. I hope you're enjoying. And first and foremost, guys, thank you for the feedback. It's crazy. Like, it hasn't been an overwhelming amount of feedback, but it's been just enough feedback to make me want to continue doing this and to make me want to consider doing it further than the 40-day challenge that I've put forth on this playlist/journey. I was thinking about doing a full Moto Gadget wiring thing. I might be doing that on Patreon because at some point here, guys, I'm putting in so much time to make these videos. We got to have something get back to us, and that's not a dig or anything like that. It's just like at some point, work has to be compensated for, if you will. So, anyways, I'm done talking. Let's go. Let's start the day. Let's go. Woo, 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 woo. So I've been working wildly efficient on the wiring today. I'm going to show you just in a moment. I didn't want to just film it and time-lapse it through. I'll get more detailed on the K. I think I'm going to make a full-blown how to wire your custom Cafe Racer video through Moto Gadget components on the K. But anyways, on top of that, yeah, we had something arrive in the mail today for the K, and that is a rear rotor. And I think we're pulling an audible, and I just fucking dropped $290 on one rotor for the rear wheel on this bike because I think it's seriously legit. So we're gonna take off this wheel on the F, fucking take off the rotor, put on a new rotor, and reinstall it. Should only take a few minutes, but I guess we're doing that now. You know, they did confirm in the news recently that money does grow on trees, and I've been growing trees in the side shop lawn area. So I'm kidding. Show them the absolute difference that we're doing here.
So this is what came off.
Yeah, and this is what we're putting on. Like,
Such a difference.
world of a difference here.
I think the most significant difference is when you turn it around. Turn the wheel around.
That looks. Look at that. Sick. And we got drilled rotors up front. All right, fellas. Today was another immensely progressive day. We made a lot of additions. We finally got to the point where the speedometer is fully operational. Most of the loom is loomed. Not like dressed up yet. But I have the breakout box wired in, finally, which means now the speedometer works, and then in tandem with that, the dash lights work on the speedometer. So we have blinker lights working, we have oil, neutral lights. The neutral light is not quite finished yet. For whatever reason, I am struggling to install this neutral switch. In the past, it's been as easy as just push it up. I think I'm just missing something easy, and I'm at the point in the day where it's 7:30 p.m. I've been working here since 10 a.m., like literally all day, and I've made a ton of progress. We took the rear wheel off the F, believe it or not, and I reinstalled a brand new rotor on the rear, so I'm not repurposing a stock rear rotor. I'll show you that in a second. And then what did we do? We made all of the ground wires that were like temporary, so I had random colors running to the ground bus. Now they're all black, in like the loom color black. I had to order a new wire. That came in yesterday. I was able to fix everything today and get it all finalized. And then, so everything is pretty much wired up front. We got our position lights, our front brake switch wired in. We have the blinkers wired in. We have the speedometer wired in to the breakout box as well. We have the dummy lights wired in. I put things that weren't on connectors before on a connector. So we have a really good, healthy mix of bullet connectors and Deutsch connectors on pretty much everywhere where it would be needed to disconnect something to service, change, replace, whatever it may be. So we're in a really good spot now. As you can see, things are a little cleaner. It's still a bird's nest, but things are a little cleaner. So I figured I'm going to turn the ignition key on and show you guys the basic progress that I've made so far. Also, one thing I forgot. I wired in the headlight finally. All the wires are color matched. All the wires are plugged into the correct outputs. So that's also a fix that I did today. And let's go ahead, power this up, and show you guys where we're at. So I'm going to grab my key, go to the ignition RF or the NFC lock, which is up front where you guys know I put it. Boom. Okay, see, the speedometer comes on now. We have our neutral light and oil light on. And now I'm going to click the blinker. We get the blinker indication on the left side of the speedometer indicating that the left blinkers are on, which is great. Now I'm going to click the right one. Boom. Also showing that the blinkers are on. That's great. And then we have the menu function. So that's right here. Okay, we have boom, speed, boom. You could cycle. You guys probably can't see this, but it's cycling through all of the inputs on the speedometer, which is great. The last two things I have to wire in for the speedometer and just like the front end is the speed sensor. I need to make a bracket for that. I haven't gotten around to it, and the tachometer read, which just goes right into one of the coils. So there's no mechanical bits to this. It's just simply connecting the two together, putting a bullet connector where they need to be, and pretty much done from there. I'll show you in a second here. I'll bring the camera over, and I'll show you where I mounted the breakout box. And I think it's a perfect spot. It's just tidy enough where the tank is going to clear it, but it is sensible enough in the point where the connections, it's right by the connection. So if I ever needed to replace the speedometer for whatever reason, you literally just come up here, take the tank off, you get access to everything you need to get access to make adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the, I don't have the headlight plugged in. It does all work. I don't feel like plugging it in and showing you guys, but it all is dialed in. And then tomorrow is Sunday. The plan is I want to get this harness trimmed up at the very least. Like everything I've done and now have connectors on and everything's final. I want to go through and actually tie things where things need to be tied and trim things where things need to be trimmed, so it's all starting to flow and look like a harness. I think I'm at the point now where it really needs to happen to really make the wiring harness see progress. So that's really about it on the front end. I got the new front fender brackets in, so it's way more of a better profile, closer to the tire. And yeah, we're in a good spot. I adjusted the clutch lever and cable to make it all work nicely nice. And now we are in a position where tomorrow we can button things up and start working on the K. That's the idea, at least. If not, Monday we'll start working on the K. Tomorrow, Rich, that you guys met in the past video or two, he's actually going to come by tomorrow to the shop, spend part of the day at the very least, and we're going to film a YouTube video for the 450 giveaway. That shouldn't take too long. And then, honestly, while he's here, if he's willing to, which I'm sure he will be, I'd like to utilize his knowledge and abilities to sort of help me button this stuff up quicker than I otherwise would be able to. I'm actually really excited to have more than one person in the shop that knows what they're doing. It's going to really help me feel more confident and get things done quicker. That's ultimately what I need. I just need an extra hand to help me button this stuff up. So, Rich, thanks for coming by tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll make a plan. I'll get around to it soon. But anyways, yeah, guys, that's really good progress for today. I'm going to take you off the tripod, show you the breakout box, and then probably wrap it up for today. So, as you guys can see, we have the speedometer on this bigger connection and the control panel, the button control on this Deutsch connector. And then throughout we have, like these two switches. So like this is the position light right here, and then this is the blinker light on the left side. Those grounds go from 2 into 1 and then into the ground bus, so as things start to make sense, it's tidy up, and there's less wires going back, and that's the ultimate goal. And then this is where the breakout box is. Obviously it's not finished, but I have everything connected. I gotta make it all nice with like heat shrink and such like that, and trim it up. See, like this is what I mean by trim wires. Like that needs to be trimmed to length, and I'll do all that tomorrow. And then we finished up. This is the neutral and oil switch, neutral switch. Those come up. They route up here and then come back up this way. So a lot of good stuff. I'll show you the other side here. Same thing, boom, position and blinker, and then this is the brake switch wires right here. They go back to connectors. This is the connection from the two positive wires that go back to the output side. So look, you have it going from 2 into 1 into the output. And that is consistent on the entire wiring harness. The last piece to the wiring harness is wiring in the rear tail section, which includes the brake light, blinkers, plus the license plate bracket lights, and the rear brake switch, which I have not received yet. But we're pretty much wired, to say the least. Like everything is wired and in its place, and then the things that aren't wired, I've already thought through and have a plan for in the end. So a lot of good stuff. The headlight, also is a TBD until we get our front cowling piece, which also needs to be painted. So none of that can really be installed until the final days. And then let me show you this rear rotor. Thing's mint. Completely changed the dynamic of the rear wheel. And personally, as much as it was hard for me to bite the bullet and buy that rear rotor, absolutely necessary in terms of the level of detail I'm trying to go to this with this build. So both of them will have brand new front and rear rotors, and the cool part about the rear rotor is the fact that it has the holes drilled to match the holes in the front rotor. So there's a lot of consistency there. I think it looks much better. Let's show you a wide view right there. Boom. So a lot of good stuff going on. Tomorrow's going to be another big day, and tomorrow's going to be the day where I truly put progress on the F, not to a halt, but to a strong slowdown, and get this going. We got to get this going. See, I already started to get the cover sanded down, which was the cover that got all messed up from the saran wrap when the engine was packed and shipped over. No big deal. That'll just take a little time to get ready, but Alex is going to help me with that. And so, yeah, tomorrow's just buttoning in the engine. I need to get the engine into the frame, like fully, get the engine mounts fully in. And then, honestly, I'm just going to probably start laying out all the wiring. I would like this bike to be wired for the show. Good stuff. Really good stuff. We still have so much work to do, but another good day of progress. That's all I can ask for. And we will see you guys Sunday, which is day 22. This was an insane day 21. And let's continue this progress in the roll of progress. We had day 20, spectacular progression day. Day 21, spectacular progression day. And day 22 hopefully follows suit. I believe it will. I don't want to get my hopes up too soon, but I believe it will. And we will see you guys tomorrow. I'm really tired. I'm at the point now where if I continued working in here any longer, I'll probably end up going backwards because I'm just not all there. So, see you guys tomorrow. Peace.